When it comes to getting a flat paint job, your technique doesn't matter as much as you think. And today, I'm gonna prove that to you. What's more important than your technique is that you respect the chemistry of your material. Now, I know to some of you, it might seem like I'm beating a dead horse because I've been talking about the chemistry of paint so much lately. But it's what I've been dealing with lately, and it's what I've been experimenting with and learning more about, because when you paint cars, to learning really never stops. We got this bumper to paint, and we have a little repair on the quarter of this Toyota over here. So I'm going to bring you guys with me to paint this car, mentioning the things that are important if you want a smooth finish along the way. And then when it's time for clear coat, I'm going to spray it in a way that is less than optimal, and we're still going to get a great finish. Now, when I say respect the chemistry, the main thing that I'm referring to is your flash off time. Your flash off times and your application. The most important thing to avoid doing is trapping solvents. So the way you're going to do that is by not over applying your base coat, or even before that, if you're using sealer, making sure that your sealer had the proper flash off time and that it's ready to accept your base coat without any issue. Just because it looks dry and it may even feel dry doesn't mean that it's ready to accept base coat. You have to refer to your data sheet, which you can find online. Just type in the product name and then TDS, and you should find it with no problem. Now, this base coat that I'm spraying over my sealer is meant to be applied wet, just like I did here. So we're all good. Not every paint line is designed to be sprayed like this. If yours is not, and you're spraying it like that anyway, well, I got news for you. That's messing with your finish. Something that just came to mind is I've had a lot of people reach out to me and tell me that they've been having problems with their sealer. Most of them being DIY guys. And I had a thought, and I didn't respond to any of those questions with this answer. And I think this is gonna be the one that solves it for a lot of people. Any sealer, just like any primer, in a professional shop is on a mixing rack. So if you're a DIY guy and you have your gallon of sealer or whatever size sealer just sitting there and you just give it a little shake before you pour it, chances are that's why your sealer's coming out crappy. It's a very thick material, and over time, from sitting long enough, those resins are gonna sink to the bottom. So you don't wanna just stir it, you also wanna scrape around your jug, your gallon, your quart, whatever it's in. Scrape it and shake it and stir it really good. Chances are that's why it's not laying well. Now you can see I'm using some air to help our first coat of base flash off. Airflow is very important in helping solvents escape from your paint. You need to have some level of airflow to properly evaporate those solvents. Now, after your first coat of base, you want to look at your panels and see if there's anything that you are not happy with. You can see the prep on this bumper was pretty poor, to say the least. The last thing you want to do is try fixing that by adding more paint, because you're going to put a second coat, you're going to put a third coat, you may even put a fourth coat, and guess what? You're still going to see it. Then you're going to decide, all right, I guess I have to sand it down. Then you're going to put a fifth coat and a sixth coat. And your paint wasn't designed to go on in 10 coats at a time. So I'm going to sit here with my Kovac sandpaper and just smooth this out. This way, it doesn't cause me to have to put any extra layers of paint on here that may end up trapping solvents. And guess what? With my finish. After you sand something down like that, your instinct is going to tell you, put a wet coat on there until it goes away. Don't do that. Put a medium wet coat just like that. If you put a very wet coat, all that's going to happen is your paint's going to sink in to those sanding marks. You're just going to have to put more paint to end up covering those scratches anyway. So just start light. See all these scratches? I don't know why This side of the bumper was really dirty, probably because it's right next to the door. Now, I know you might be asking yourself, I thought you said you were going to use a bad technique and still get a great finish. I am, when I'm laying the clear. What's most important when you're laying your base coat is only put as much base coat as you need to achieve coverage. So we're 1.5 coats in now, and I'm only gonna need one more half coat, drop coat, whatever you wanna call it. And that's it. We didn't put a lot of paint. The less material you have on your panel, the better finish you're going to achieve. All right, I just finished laying my base. I'm gonna let that flash off, mix up clear. We're gonna go in there. We're gonna throw our first coat of clear on, how we normally would, and then on our second coat of clear, you guys are gonna be like, what the hell is this guy doing? And then when you see the results, you're gonna wonder, how the hell? But he sprayed it like shit. How did it come out good? Because we respected the chemistry of the material, and that is more important than your skill or your technique. All right, so our base coat is down, flashed off, ready for clear. Now, I should clarify, my first coat, like I just said, is gonna be a normal coat of clear. I'm gonna keep it tight and wet. The main thing you always wanna do on your first coat of clear is don't go too heavy. You're better off being a little too dry than a little too wet, for obvious reasons. On my second coat, what I wanna clarify is, it's going to be a poor technique, but it's going to be a technique that ensures I am not trapping solvents. And as long as you make certain of that, your clear coat finish is going to be good at the very least. It might not be phenomenal, but it will be good.
It's very commonly believed that texture or an ugly finish in your clear coat comes from poor techniques. But that's not the case. More times than anything else, where that texture is coming from is from trapped solvents. Because when they try to escape, they push the clear out of the way and cause little mountains. And that's exactly what the texture that you see is. It's little mountains in your clear coat. And they were caused by trapped solvents. Obviously, you see here, I'm getting a pretty good finish on my first coat. I don't go for perfection. I don't recommend you do either. I preach that on my channel because your first coat is going to have a lot less of an impact on how your clear finishes than your second coat.
All right, so our first coat is down, and I want to show you guys something real quick. You see these little specks? That's because our clear coat is what I would call open. I would call that an open wet coat. So essentially, you have some film build there, but those solvents still have a way to evaporate. Another thing I preach, use a timer. Yeah, we all know how to tell time, but a lot of the times we want to move quicker than the material does. And that is a good way to prevent it. So we're going to wait 10 minutes, then we'll lay our second coat with a technique that you've probably never seen before. Now, while I'm here waiting for this thing to hit 10 minutes, I wanted to mention something before I forget, because I know I would forget. For those of you who are spraying in a booth, after your last coat of clear, do not leave the booth and start baking right away. Now, I know some booths have a built-in flash off time before your bake, but some don't. And if you bake your clear without giving the solvents a chance to evaporate from your clear is going to die back. It's going to have a tight, ugly texture, and it's just not going to be good. Now, for you guys that are in a garage, obviously you're running with an exhaust fan. Don't just turn your exhaust fan off as soon as the clear dissipates from the room. You need to leave that running for at least 10 minutes, at least, if not longer. Honestly, if you go longer, it's not a bad thing. Your clear is going to cure either way. I usually do 10 minutes, then I bake. And that's excluding the 5-minute pre-bake that my bake cycle has. So I give my clear a total of 15 minutes before I put any heat and start to minimize air movement.
Okay, it's been 10 minutes. I'm going to demonstrate how I'm going to clear everything on the second coat, all right? Essentially, what I'm going to do, let me try to get a good angle for you guys. I'll go up here. I'm going to lay it extremely, extremely lightly just until I see the clear start to close up. And look at this. How the hell did I not see that? It's all right. It'll be all right. So I'm going to be holding my gun way far back. I'm actually going to lower the pressure. The reason why I just lowered my pressure a little bit is since I'm going to be far back, I don't want my clear to be drying in the air. So you see this, right? I'm just going to keep passing. And I mean, look at how far my gun is. Until I see that clear close up. Just like that. Okay, so I mean, if you were to paint your clear like this, are you gonna get a gorgeous finish? No, you're not. But are you gonna get runs? Are you gonna have solvent pop? Are you gonna deal with dieback? No, you're not. And you're still gonna get a good finish because you're not working against your material. I mean, you're not working optimally with your materials, you know, because obviously there's better technique than this to apply clear coat. But since you're not working against the chemistry, you're still going to get a decent finish. This is a great, I think this is a great lesson for a lot of people out there who are so focused on, what pressure, how much fluid, you know, all this stuff, that it matters so much less than the chemistry and how this material was designed to be used.
All right, so I just finished putting that second coat on the bumper, and I used way more clear than I normally do because, I mean, I was spraying it from a freaking football field in a mountain away from the panel, so I got to mix more clear up. And on that quarter, I'm obviously going to do the same thing. I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to set you up on the tripod so I can really focus on what I'm doing, since I'm spraying it in a way that I don't normally spray. I want to focus a little more just to make sure that I get the best finish I possibly can using this shitty technique. So hopefully that'll really drill this into you guys who are so obsessed with, you know, your gun setup and all this other nonsense that matters less than this. Because, I mean, let's be honest. If you guys see, you know, a beautiful finish here, I think you're really going to start to understand where to put your focus when it comes to painting. All right, so I'm going to start throwing our second coat on here. My gun's set up the same way. I'm going to start from the far side and come this way. Once I get here, I'll bring the tripod in a little closer. I just don't want to risk knocking it over into the quarter.
All right, so I'm gonna set you guys up nice and close, and you're gonna watch how I apply this from a mile away and still get a good finish. I mean, look at how far my gun is. And I mean, look at the panel. I'm trying not to cut right here, so you guys know I'm not, putting on another coat or whatever. I see those comments once in a while.
But this is, about as shitty a technique as you can use when it comes to applying clear coat. And that is by all standards an acceptable finish. We are using a slow hardener, and that slow hardener likes to let this clear flow out. So it's going to get a little better than that. So we'll give this about 10 minutes, come back, and we'll check it out. Now, our booth has this, which increases the airflow and helps the solvents escape. And that is the 10-minute cycle I was talking about before. While I'm waiting for this flash off cycle to finish, so we can go take a look at the finish, all flowed out and nice, I was looking at the clips of me clearing, and the video does zero justice for how far I was from that panel, unfortunately. But I was at least a foot away from the panel with my gun, which is not good. Not a way you want to spray clear coat. It sucks that it didn't translate because I'm using the wide angle lens on my phone, but take my word for it, I promise you it was no less than a foot. I've been wanting to address this. I know I haven't been posting as much as I usually do lately, and it's a combination of things. One is because when I post on this channel, I want you guys to know right away that when you click that video, there's gonna be some value there. I don't want this channel to be where I just post just to post. I was thinking about making a second channel where it's more entertainment focused and not so educational focused. So if you guys would be interested in that, where I kind of just every other day or something like that, where I just pick up the camera and I just record my day at work. If you're interested in that, let me know in the comments, because it's definitely something I would consider doing, because I do enjoy making videos, but I don't want you guys to have to ever question if my video is worth clicking on. That's the first reason. The second reason is because these pre-orders for the Apex have gotten completely out of hand, and I really want to make sure that I'm not just offering a great product, but I'm also offering great customer service, right? Because look, you could buy a great product, but if you have a question or if you're having an issue and you can't get any help, what's the use of the product? So to me, customer service is really important. So a lot of my time's been going to emails from customers that have pre-ordered that seem to have overlooked the shipping date and things of that nature. This pre-order has been the largest by far. We are over 143 guns sold for this pre-order, excluding the prior pre-orders. I actually had to keep adding to my order for the manufacturer for this pre-order. So I think there's like 16 left. Once these 16 guns are gone, the pre-order pricing is gone, and it's going to be full retail price. So if you want one, don't wait, because they're gonna go. And who doesn't want to save 50 bucks? Anyway, let's check it out. So even with a less, wow, look at that. Okay, I didn't even expect it to come out this good. I really didn't. So the fact that it did should hammer home the point to you guys that your technique does not matter as much as you think it does. Your technique or your gun setup doesn't matter as much as you think it does. And I think this video and these results make that pretty obvious. Anyway, that's going to be it for this one, guys. Holy shit, this thing came out beautiful. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, if you got any value out of it, or if you were entertained, if you could, please consider dropping a like, comment, or maybe even subscribe. Until the next time, peace!